Perfect. Hello, everyone. Happy Friday. It's my pleasure and honor to welcome you for the last session of this week. We've still got 3 weeks of this PPM Summer Talk Conference running. So please feel free to join us, to invite your peers and colleagues. We've got many more wonderful speakers coming up. But today I would like to welcome a speaker, a very big name in the industry, I would say, from what I've done a lot of research. But we've got beautiful people with us. So yeah, thank you so much. It's Marcelo Costa. Hopefully, I'm saying it properly. He's an expert from a pharma field, and after I'll give him a word for him to say a few things about himself, and then he will roll with the presentation. So hello, everyone, and thank you again for joining us. It's my pleasure on behalf of Y Summit to welcome everyone here, everyone who is joining us on a beautiful Friday afternoon or Friday morning, wherever you are in the world. We've created PPM Summer Talks for all professionals and experts from the pharma industry to get in touch, get recognized, share their knowledge, wisdom, everything they've got going on. And as I said, we're doing it through a PPM workout platform that we've created as Y Summits for everyone to really connect and share. So thank you again so much, everyone, for joining us. And this is Marcelo Costa. If you'd like to say hello or anything like that before we start, please feel free.
Yeah, no, hello. Thanks for having me. After a great London summit, it's great to be back. So thank you for this opportunity, and thank you to all who join us in this Friday afternoon. So thanks so much.
Yeah, thank you so much again. And I'm not gonna talk too much before Marcela. So I'm gonna leave him, and I'm gonna give him a word. If you'd like to say something about you from the background, I know that we are quite tight on the time schedule today. You've got a very interesting and wonderful conversation and a presentation prepared. So I'm gonna give you my full word, and feel free to introduce yourself, and I'm gonna leave it up to you. But if anyone has any questions, please feel free to keep them coming throughout the entire session, and I will kindly interrupt Marcelo throughout the presentation, and I will ask him the questions that you are asking him. I'm pretty sure he won't be able to see them, but that's why I'm here. So yeah, thank you again so much, everyone, and this is going to be a great session. So let's give it up for Marcelo.
Yeah, definitely. You guys can ask. And Kate will help me in this process. Well, I have been working for pharma 20 years now. I'm originally from Brazil, working in Brazil several years, and I had the chance to move to Germany when I was working for Sandoz. And it's been 5 years working for Stada in the headquarters near Frankfurt region. So yeah, it's great to be here. And like Kate said, this is more to exchange opinions, ideas, especially for us in Stada, where this PMO story is very in early stages, I would say. So it's also to get feedback and all kinds of information for us also good. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you again. And exactly, I'm going to repeat it once more. If you have any questions, keep them coming. And we're going to give our full attention to Marcelo Costa, and he prepared a presentation for us. So let's hear it. And I'm really interested myself to listen to it and to learn more.
Let me share the screen. Tell me if it's working.
Yeah, we can see Stada.
Okay.
Perfect. Yeah, perfect. It's the spotlight is all yours, Marcelo. Thank you again.
Thanks so much. So this talk here is about our savings transformation program in Stada. So and of course, given as I said, this recent PMO organization we put together, we have been learning a lot in the past years. So I will start putting into context a little bit of Stada and the organization I work with, and then a bit of our journey. Okay, so starting with a bit of Stada, this is just to show the company. We are based in Bad Wibel near Frankfurt. We are around about 12,000 employees across mainly Europe and Russia, Southeast Europe, Vietnam. A little bit of our consumer health. So we are basically a generic company with consumer health division, and also investing in bio and other specialities in the market, the pharma business. So, and then how the conversation started. I was not part of this process in the beginning, but when we were taking over in 2017 as part of the program, it has been decided that we should improve our margins, and by 17 this savings program started. So basically that's the journey we have had so far. And the target by that time was to improve our bottom line results. And basically 1/3 should come from savings. And by savings should be sustainable savings, which is always tricky, how to secure that savings will be sustainable across several years. 1/3 from organic and 1/3 for inorganic growth. So that would be our target. And also a bit of technical operations. This program is not only about technical operations, but we have some projects or initiatives outside TechOps. But TechOps for us, every time I say TechOps, is basically everything working close to the product. So internal or ease organization, supply chain, procurement, quality, and then all technical other areas like MS&T, operational excellence, HR or finance within TechOps. So that's how TechOps looks like in our company. And then, like I said, PMO is quite. Let me close here because I see some stuff in my screen. PMO is something quite new for us, and the idea, I think perhaps you saw this before, but this is how we structure a bit our idea. So we have on the left governance. So we try to support other functions within TechOps, especially when it comes to strategic projects, savings transformation, and also the KPI management during the monthly business reviews. So this is a bit of our function here. On the right, top right, you have the business excellence performance. So everything we have in this basket, like I described it, we try to help as much as we can. Then in front of us, our true north is our TechOps strategy. So everything we do should be connected to our strategy. So my function, I reported just to perhaps to explain, I report to a VP of strategy who reports to our global TechOps head. And everything we do here is also support our functions to have the right strategy aligned with the study strategy. So that's super important. And a bit of PMO, as you see on the left quarter here down, is this power assist. So PMO should work as the extra energy when we see that something is off track or not performing. This is a bit of our function to look into the details and see, okay, how we can improve or how we can assist you in concept development ideas. And this was super important, especially in the beginning of the savings transformation, yeah, as I'm going to explain to you. So a lot of things in the savings transformation. So how to manage it, as you can see here, the numbers, 400 initiatives, 2,000 direct materials, more than 100 associates log into our system. And then you see here also on the left the key areas of improvement: direct procurement spend, conversion costs, general administration, regulatory affairs, warehouse distribution, write-off or inventory related topics. So many different topics. And specifically some numbers for you, 20 manufacturing plants and laboratories. We also cover affiliates, especially for indirect costs. So we are also monitoring the savings across plus 30 affiliates. And also savings in global functions, especially in G&A and general administration. That's a bit of our scope. And then we didn't have this, to be honest, in the beginning, but after working, we can define, I think, 4 working pillars. How if I had to start from scratch, this is how I would approach. So and I in the next slides I will give you some examples, just to make the picture clear for you. So governance and policy is one. So it's all about what's the role, what are the rules behind, how we move projects from idea to the final execution or savings final savings realization. Business integration, that what a lot of my scope to understand and support the functions and how to improve the communication and the process within the functions. I can tell you that now my workload in this is much reduced, because now work streams, they work super remotely. They know what they need to do. Okay, of course we have a governance in place, but my interaction or my interference is much lower than before. Tool and data analysis, this is super important. We had in the beginning a system, but now we move it to a better system, and I'm going to talk a little bit about this. So tool and is super important in this process. And value creation, in the end, is all about value creation. Everything we are doing here, we need to show in numbers. A bit of the savings transformation is that we try as much as possible to show the numbers as P&L effect. So it's not only theoretical savings, but really P&L, which makes for you guys or for people working with sales is super hard to really identify and show the results in the P&L. But that's our goal here, to really show value. As I showed in the beginning, we really need to improve the bottom line results. So we need to show P&L savings in the end. So now talk about some examples. So example of governance. This is, I'm going to explain everything here, but governance is fundamental, yeah, for people to know that there is a time when people need to report, a time where they need to consolidate, when they need to put the one pager or the reports. Then these numbers are discussed, for example, in our monthly business review, individually per function, and also when you have the global monthly business review. And most importantly, all the slides that we put together, there is always at least one or two slides that go to our management committee. As I told you, we had been taken over some years ago, so we have a committee with our sponsors and our executive senior leaders, and we are every month for two months we show the results and the progress, and that's a little bit of our scope here on the right bottom. We try to support as a PMO expert for savings transformation. And our goal is that every function has their PMO, and knowing what to do, how to support the users or the other colleagues. Share best practices, it's super important. Also collect feedback. For example, we have been improving our IT system, so always collecting feedback how to make things simpler and better for the user, for the experience of our users. Be a role of STADA value and behavior. So it's super important that they see that, yeah, we are driving, we are pushing, and this is cascade down to the user, to all users. And also facilitate savings pipeline, because it's all about in the beginning you saw 2022, perhaps you saw as our target, but of course the savings transformation continues. So in our strat plan, we have savings targets until 2025 now, and we need to keep filling the pipeline as much as we can. Yeah? In the context of COVID, you saw that things started before COVID, but definitely when the crisis started last year was fundamental. All the process we had in place, all the pipeline supported us during this journey, during the crisis. In the last slide, I'm going to show you a bit of our results. But everything we did before COVID supported us. Nobody would foresee that COVID would come, all this, the pandemic, all the crisis, but definitely all this structure helped us to go through the crisis in a better shape. Yeah. As example of governance, like I said, we have for every savings initiative, we have a clear path how to promote one initiative from idea to, in this case here you see is L1 to L2, L3, L4, L5. This shows the maturity of the idea. And when we consolidate all these ideas in our portfolio, we can see how the total maturity of the program is going. So L1 is basically idea, L2 is the business case approved by finance, L3 is when the execution starts, L4 is when execution is finished, and now we are just waiting for the realization of savings, and L5 is when the savings are being realized, and you see the cumulative numbers. I'm not going to tell everything here, but I think the presentation will be shared, so you can have a look later on. And of course, get back to me if you have any question, right? A bit of business integration. I think there are a lot of discussions. What's the ideal type of PMO, the traditional, as you can see on the left, or the dynamic, as you see on the right. We don't have a model, but of course, in the day-to-day business, I try to adapt and support people as much as we can. So, for example, when it comes to the periodic reviews or top-down decisions, or when it comes to standardization, we go through or go for the traditional approach. However, I'm the one talking with people in the corporate or having calls with someone sitting on a site or on affiliate in whatever country, giving one-to-one support or providing training or whatever. So this is the way we work. We try to combine the positive sides of both PMO organizations. Yeah. And for us, it's super important, as we have a lean organization, is to keep things simple. That's why it's very important that we have also this dynamic idea that I'm available to support anyone who would need at any time in the organization. Yeah? Which is also super good, by the way, to collect feedback, because people who are really using the system can provide valuable feedback on how to improve things. Yeah? Another example of business integration was, for example, indirect procurement. When we had a change in the leadership in indirect procurement, and sharing the experience we had, and a new person coming in with her view, they defined it as some how can I say, a organization, a way of working that was not clearly established before. In this case, I'm not part of the function. I try not to interfere how they work. But in this case, was a good combination. How the function worked as indirect procurement, regardless of savings, regardless of the program, and the way we used to see or we used to work. And then we share a lot of knowledge. So then we defined a lot of cases, how to enter the data in the system. So it was really, really good. And there's one good example of how we can integrate, or how can we improve the day-to-day business from a project or a program, a PMO point of view. So I think it was really, really good. The third pillar, tools and technologies. So like I told you, we have more than 100 people working with the system, and imagine doing this in Excel. As I said before me, there was another system which was good, but there are a lot of scripts running behind, and we needed Tableau displaying the savings and the project. So it was kind of Frankenstein system. And the first thing when I started working in this program was, come on, we need a better tool. Yeah, we need a real-time tool where people change information in the system. There is no need for scripts running or putting Tableau or pulling Tableau reports. So this is something that we did. Interesting is that some people used to complain about the old system, and some people complain about the new system. So it's important that we try to remove the barriers. We need to involve, and that's why I mentioned before that sometimes I need to reach out to people to train, to explain how things works. Like I said, as you can read here, empower employees. I try to say, guys, our tool is like buying something on Amazon or whatever. It's super simple, but there is always this fear, how the system works. If I push the wrong button, this will make a damage or whatever. So it's important, yeah, to understand that. And the digitalization must, in my opinion, must increase employees' productivity. Yeah, like I said before, we had a tool that myself, for example, I had to do a lot of steps in order to get the results. It's not really helping. Helps, of course, but it's not really helpful when people were working the system and they couldn't see the results easily. So this is something that we learn a lot here. And then the outcome of this process, as you can see on the right, is the savings report. Some savings now we see online. We see is a web page where we see, but of course sometimes you need to pull this data and put into PowerPoint and create the reports. And like I said, this is shared across the VPs in technical operations, and also to the board, to the CEO, and the management committee. Value creation, something that we try as much as we can to, like I said, to keep the pipeline full, and across all functions, all items you see on the left. We try to identify the opportunities. Sometimes I'm involved, sometimes I'm not involved. Like I told, now people are working more and more remotely, especially that we need to connect the savings to the budget process. So during the budget time, that is basically happening now, people need to come up with new ideas, to try to fill the gaps, or like I said, just to increase the pipeline. It's important prioritization because we cannot deliver everything, but we need to focus on the ones with high value. As I said, the forecast. Sometimes you have some ideas planned for 2023 or 2024. As you know, when you move or when you transfer products from one facility to the other, or from an internal production site to a CMO, depend on the type of change, this could take years. Or when you have a dual source or simply a dual source, or when you have a new source of an API, you know how the regulatory things work in pharma. Then we need to keep this in the pipeline. So we have an idea today, and potentially the realization will happen in 2, 3, 4 years. So we keep all this in the system as well. Execute and review is, as I explained, we have this governance in place to make sure that things are being addressed, problems, whatever is necessary to get things done. And communication, regardless if talk about training or talk about the goals. And this was super important now during COVID. For example, in one area, the area decided to how can I say, expand or to increase the target of savings in order to accelerate and to push for more ideas. And communication is a must. Is super important. Going to the end of the presentation. This is a bit of our transformation. You can see on the left the P&L savings. It's important to say that every year we are audited by, for example, Ernst Young, and savings are included in this audit. So everything we do here is kind of thoroughly analyzed and validated. That position was, I would say, April this year. I must confess, and I guess if you have colleagues here working pharma, we have been hit by prices increase, especially in direct materials, and most recently in packaging materials. So we were confident that we could achieve our target. I didn't put here the number, but we have a big number to achieve. Now we are struggling a little bit because, as I mentioned, this is a P&L savings program. So we only report the net effect. But however, for example, in some areas like direct procurement, we are generating millions of savings gross, but because of the cost ups, the P&L effect is reduced. Anyway, like I said, the service transformation continues, and we will keep monitoring our pipeline. In some cases, the savings are only postponed, and then we also keep tracking of this. And if it's only a 100% a reduction in the savings or just a postponement. So we need to understand these changes for every project or for every initiative. What else? Yeah, and the overall program continues. The tracking and the management by PMO TechOps, and also overseeing areas outside TechOps, like I said, regulatory affairs or G&A, general administration costs. What I learned, of course, like I said, we couldn't foresee this crisis coming, but as we had a good position, we were very well positioned by the work done before me and after I took over end of 2019. I like to finish my presentation with this such a good slide that the time to repair the roof is when the sun shines. So, of course, the crisis, and I guess for all the companies, we have now assessed many different areas in our company, like for example, inventory management. Another discussion is makes sense to keep having API or excipients or even FDF products being supplied by Asia or whatever. So a lot of things trigger new ideas or new strategies for us. But definitely having a plan in place is the best way to deal with crisis. Huh? Well, that's it. I try to be fast, but try and speak as much as I could. Feel free to contact me on LinkedIn if you have any questions, or if you have any questions now, feel free. Yeah. Thanks so much.
Thank you so much, Marcelo. This was faster than what we were thinking about, because you know, when before we met up today, he told me, okay, Kitty, well, I have exactly 1 hour, and you know, like let's give the introduction, let's do this. So we're here, end of your presentation. Thank you so much. Really beautiful to see, you know, to see it put together so well. We have no questions so far, you know, and if anyone, this is what we've done before actually, if anyone who's interested in joining us, unmute yourself and, you know, feel free to ask questions. So don't be shy. Before anyone asks any questions, maybe I have one or a few if you'd like to kill the time. Is there anything that you're dealing with right now, Marcelo, like when it comes to the company that you're working for, Stada, or you yourself, when it comes to the career path? Are there any challenges that you've been seeing or experiencing? Or, I mean, kind of, let's put COVID restrictions aside.
Yeah, like I said, this program is so well structured and things are running remotely that, for example, I'm taking new projects on top of my regular work. So that's the beauty of putting a PMO structure and all this governance in place, because this can free up your capacity and it can deliver all this stuff. And of course, these new projects will help me in my career. So yeah, definitely there are things coming ahead.
Mm-hmm. So how many projects are you managing right now?
On top of my daily business, we are another thing that's linked to our PMO. We are automating our PMO program, not only the sales transformation, but all the strategy. This would be a very good presentation as well, because we are in this process right now. So
is that a shameless plug? I should ask you to be in our conversation again.
Yeah. So all the strategy, the key strategic projects, that everything we are managing, as you can imagine, Excels and PowerPoints, we are going to migrate to online too as well. But not only these, other key process in our company, we are using the same tool to automate, to get rid of Excels and emails, and working these two with online formulas, online workflows. So this is something that I'm pushing the moment, and also running some other projects related to the network footprint of the company. It's a bit more confidential, but it's something related to where we should be producing what, and that's also super critical for us. So that's why a little bit of things that I'm doing and will be part of my portfolio for the next months. Yeah.
Thank you. And you know, actually, the reason why I've asked you to kindly, you know, present this case study of yours is because you've received a very great feedback when you were presenting it at one of our conferences. And I'm not sure if you remember, but if you could, you know, go back in time, were there any questions that you received about this case study that you were presenting today as well, that you kind of, it made you think a bit differently about it, or made you feel a bit challenged and you had to think a bit longer to kind of to give an answer to them? Is there anything like that?
I think one question, if I recall well, was about the governance and
Okay.
that
Yeah, feel
model.
free to share it. Mhm.
And that model I presented, this dynamic or traditional. And for now, we are going to keep it this way. It's a bit of both. There is no way of working that's the right way. Now that we are moving to our online tool, there's an opportunity for us to standardize more and more processes. So perhaps we are going to move a bit more for the traditional in the sense of having more standardized process and templates, because our governance is more in the strategic level, but functions they can do. So basically functions can do whatever they want as long as they deliver. However, as now we are standardizing more process, then perhaps we are going to be more on the traditional way that people should follow governance, cadences, templates.
I
And this is
understand.
currently not done. So definitely this was one question that we were thinking, but that was before this program that we are running to automate. So that's why now we are linking more to the perhaps the traditional way when it comes to governance templates, etc.
And when you first came up with this idea of implementing a new program into your company, how was it received amongst your colleagues, peers? How did it go?
It's a daily job, yeah, because of course there are users or people, colleagues that, oh, that's good, we need that, we need to automate. Some others, now I'm going to lose my little secret here, because online too, everybody have access. So yeah, it has been, we are trying to how can I say, use a kind of change management in this, evolving since the beginning, evolving people, the key people from the functions, for them to understand the good or the positive things in this program. So a lot of change management happening, yeah. But we just started because we had all this, procurement to find the right tool. Now we kick off with all the meetings. We see people more energized. We went through the denial and all the beginning, but of course there is resistance here and people pushing there, and this is how we try to balance it.
So what would be the best advice to give someone who's starting out with a new project and trying to implement that into their old ways of thinking and doing things? How could they do it more efficient? What would be your advice?
Whatever I do in operational excellence when I worked before is, I think I like both approaches, the top down. We need the top guys to understand and support, and the bottom up. People who will be working with the tool, people who will be, they need to understand the benefits, and they need to buy in. And then you have these both working from the top and from the bottom. This is the perfect. So involving people, I spend a lot of time talking to people, presenting, and this would be my try from both sides. It's not only about top-down decision. It's not only about convincing people on the lower levels. I think it's both ways.
So communication and understanding, really,
Yeah, yeah,
and the benefits, of course.
yeah,
We've got a question from Alice. She's trying to save me here. Thank you, Alice. She's asking, how difficult do you find it to ensure that everyone well understands their role, and how is the reshuffle of priorities managed?
yeah. Good question. This
Thank you,
is,
Alice.
yeah, that Alice, thanks. The example I gave for indirect is a good example, because the area was delivering savings. They have the pipeline, but was not super structured. When the new person came in and understood that we need to put more who does what, and now how can translate their way of working. For example, in our online tool, this helped a lot the guys. Oh, and now I make the link between the tool and our user cases. So this is a way we did. And like I said, training, talking, empowering people, having a lot of sessions to discuss the opportunities. It's a daily job, yeah, because every time there is someone new in the system or joining the company, we need to keep it. Otherwise, it will be very easy after some couple of years to lose the friction, yeah, because the traction. Sorry, because new people, they don't understand. So we need to keep every new people onboarded. I'm the one, for example, I'm still the one creating the user and kind of onboarding to ensure that we keep the ball rolling.
Thank you for answering. And if valid that was not sufficient enough, feel free to ask more questions about it. And I would actually like to ask you, to put it into a timeline, like when you've created this program, when you put it to use, how long did it take for you to introduce it to your team until it was fully implemented? What would be the time range?
I took over the program mid end of 19, so I think all this storming and denial was more in the beginning. But one thing that I learned a lot, and that was perhaps the biggest difficulty, is that by that time there were a lot of external support, consultants or doing things on behalf of the users, of the people who should deliver the savings, that people sat back and said, oh, there is someone dealing with the system, but then we said, guys, we cannot keep paying people or whatever. The person who is working on the savings, they should be the one keeping the system updated and creating new ideas. There is no need for someone external, hey, now you need to create savings or whatever. So that was a big change, that despite the process was running, we need to make it a switch from this external support or someone babysitting to, no, you guys. And I think this connects to the next question.
Yes, exactly. We got a question from Steve from Bristol. Thank you.
Yeah.
How did you get the projects to buy in?
So every function has their savings target and they need to deliver. So indirect, for example, a big change as well, because in the past there was a savings like, for example, 20 million savings this year. Was a big bucket or a black hole, and we were not really tracking who was delivering what. If we are delivering, we are fine. But this year, in the budget process from last year, every country got their own share how to save. So now we are going to the country level, and then of course this to the person in their how is the PMP, is the your bonus process. So down to every person to know how much they should deliver based on their pipeline. And now we can see much better which country is delivering or not, and then there is much better. So basically every function, they have their own targets and they need to deliver. So this is a way how to push and how to make sure that we will be delivering the targets.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Yeah, and thank you, Steve, for the question. You feel free to unmute yourself. I know you two know each other as well. Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm gonna give it a few more moments for some questions. Oh, Alice, we've got a question from you. How many iterations of progress reporting have you gone through? So you have a template you're happy with now. A smiley face. That's a good one.
Yes, when I took over, I think for every function, for example, there were, I think, 3 or 4 pages. But again, this program was partially managed by external people. Say, guys, we need to simplify. We need to make this better and simpler, but keep it the key messages. So I went down to 1 pager. So 1 pager per function, for example. But then we saw the need to go back to 2 pages, because 1 page is the overall message, and the second page we are detailing more the top 10 projects, for example. This is something that our leadership would like to see, the top 10 for every function. I would still keep the 1 pager, but as they asked for a top 10 or top 15 project view, we have. But definitely, but the point here was always trying to improve, to make things simpler, try to avoid. But it's true that sometimes we need to create some specific reports, depending on the audience, with a different, for example, now we finished, we did, I think the 3+9 overview, or then there was the 6+6 overview outlook. So then sometimes we need to create some specific, but it's more PowerPoint than really report. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, perfect. And she's adding, thank you, Alice, for the question. She's added, I've had a very similar experience. I'm not sure if you'd like to share with everyone else.
Alice, if you want to speak up, feel free.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, it would be great.
Yeah, I think it's, so I've worked for AstraZeneca now just for over a year, and I'm in the translational department, which seems to sit outside of the PMO of the rest of AstraZeneca. So it's been quite interesting seeing sort of how the big pharma, i.e. the big part of AstraZeneca, does it versus translational medicine. And I think when I started, there wasn't, for the project that I'm working on, there wasn't really a standard template for process reporting and that kind of thing. So people would be having it in emails or just verbal, and it was a real nightmare trying to keep track of things. So then, like you, we went to a one-pager to really simplify it. But then the more you dig, you find that actually people need a bit more information that's just on that one pager for each function. So it's like you said, I think it's continuous improvement. You sort of never feel like you've quite got exactly what's needed at the time. So it's good to hear that it's not just my experience.
Not only you, huh? But for example, was not part of this presentation, but this process, this project, I spoke about the automation of the PMO as a whole, not only. Now we start to collect it, and every function, they have their own templates or their own project charters, their own everything. And now we'll try to harmonize this into one TechOps Stada template. So it will be a journey. Will be fun.
But it's so nice when it's done.
Yeah, definitely.
When it's all harmonized.
Yeah, cool. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Alice. Thank you for joining us. Marcelo, is there anything else that you'd like to share regarding your career path? Anything from the case study that you haven't mentioned and you would like to? Is there anything, maybe a piece of advice to anyone who is maybe in your shoes or in a similar situation, that kind of, anything that helped you?
I think I don't know, it's all about experimentation, yeah, because everything I present today was not like that. Like there's 4 pillars. If I would start now, I would start this way. But in the beginning was more where we are doing wrong or we're doing right. When I took over, I heard people to understand what are the things were working, things are not working. So it's as we talk here, is about communication, listening to people, and curiosity to improve, to make things better. And there is no single. Everything I said here is not right or wrong, but it's the way we found and the way that is working. So that's why you need to keep your mind open for feedbacks, for and keep improving. Yeah?
Is there anything that you would have done differently? You knowing everything that you know right now.
Yeah, definitely.
Everything you know.
Yeah. For example, like I mentioned, people used to complain about the old system. People complain about the new system. So why? So the change in management is important, but sometimes you need to go into every individual to understand why there is a problem. Sometimes you see that people, they have difficulties in working with computer. Nowadays it happens. So there was a bit of noise when you moved to a new tool, despite it was much better, efficient, blah blah blah. Because we need to understand all this and perhaps train more. Perhaps I would train more people. We also roll it up too fast, because the plan was beautiful. We start with the top leadership, and then directors involved, PMOs, but at some point we rolled out too fast, and this created some noise, because it was a new tool, and then we didn't perhaps train enough or gave time to people for people to understand the tool. So yes, some areas I could have improved. Yeah, definitely.
So did you, how were you dealing with the difficulties that came along the way? Did you have any mentor, like someone who helped you to get through it, or was it kind of like a trial and error, like an experimentation, like you said?
Yes, talk to people. Sometimes I spoke with a VP. I had a new boss joining the company last year, so it was all important to hear. He was completely fresh. So Marcelo, why is happening this? So talk to people. Talk to people, not only one coach or whatever, but trying to understand the key players, what's going on, and then adjust as necessary. I think we need to adapt as necessary sometimes.
Perfect, thank you. Yeah, and it's it's even interesting for me to know, as I'm not a professional PPM, anything like that, but I'm hoping that people will find this really fruitful. And like Alice mentioned, many people feel like they're on their own most of the time, but really everyone else really is dealing with the similar issues.
Definitely.
Yeah, so if anyone else has any questions, feel free to ask. And if not, we're not gonna keep everyone logged in just for the sake of staying in until 5 p.m. I know how precious the time is, and Marcelo's son has got a birthday tomorrow. He's got the things to do and buy. But yeah, feel free to continue conversation and continue keeping the questions coming even through the PPM workout platform. Marcelo is a member there, you know, along with some like another 250 people. There are quite many members there already. So feel free to carry on with the conversation there. And if Marcel will be kind enough, you can share the slides that you've prepared online, or you can send it to me and we'll post it up. Also, this session was recorded, so we will post it on our YouTube channel, as I've been doing lately with all the online sessions. So, you know, anyone who would like to rewatch it and who would like to share it with anyone else, feel free. It's there publicly. And yeah, I would just like to thank everyone for joining us. This was the second week of our PPM Summer Talks. We still got 3 weeks coming up, and yeah, we'll see how it goes. So far, it's been a great feedback. We've had, you know, great speakers who've been enjoying it a lot as well. So thank you again, Marcel Costa, for joining us. If you'd like to say a few last words.
No, thank you for this, for all the questions. And it has been, I have joined some other meetings or these talks. It was super good. Thank you for putting this together. Thanks so much.
Thank you as well. And you know, actually, people are saying thanks and congratulations for the presentation. Vinicius,
Thanks so much.
Monteiro, Alice, thanks so much for the great presentation. Happy birthday to your son for tomorrow.
Thanks so much.
Steve is clapping, and this makes me really happy. It seems, and this is, you know, this is exactly what we want to create, a community of professionals and experts who really can share desires, connecting, you know, who they can connect with. And this is just Karai saying thank you. Yeah, thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
This is, you know, we're all human, and I feel like we do need support and connection. And this is why the PPM workout platform is here, and the conference that we are putting together on behalf of Y Summits. And this is the point, to really bring people and experts, professionals together. So I will see you for another wonderful 3 weeks, starting again on Tuesday. Have a beautiful, beautiful weekend. Happy birthday to your son again.
Thanks so much.
And yeah, feel free to keep the conversations going. And that's all for me. So thank you again. And I really appreciate you being here, you, Marcelo, and everyone else joining us.
Thanks so much. Have a lovely weekend.
Thank you again, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Ciao, ciao. Ciao, Kate.